Hi, this is Rob. I'm going to be showing you how to do the exercises that go along with the video lesson, the distributive property in arithmetic. Are you ready? Let's get started. For our first problem, we need to fill in the blanks to make this equation true. And we have 5 times the group, 8 plus 3 equals, and we have blank times 8 plus blank times 3. And it looks like to make this equation true, we're going to have to use the distributive property and distribute this factor of 5 times to each of these parts, 8 plus 3. So, in these blanks, we just put a 5. That is the factor that we're distributing to this group. For problem 2, we need to fill in the blanks to make this equation true. And we have 6 times the group, 12 minus 9 equals 6 times blank minus 6 times blank. So, we need to distribute this 6 times to each of these members of the group. So, for this first one, we're going to distribute that 6, the factor of 6, to that 12. We put in a 12 here. And then we're going to distribute this factor of 6 to this minus 9. But we already have the minus sign in there. So we'll just put the number 9 right there. For problem 3, we need to use the distributive property to simplify this expression, and we need to show our work. So we start with 3 times the group, 8 plus 10. So we need to distribute this factor to each member of the group. So we'll do 3 times 8 plus 3 times 10. And now we need to simplify this whole expression, so we need to keep going. We can't stop here. So 3 times 8 is 24, plus, and then 3 times 10 is 30. So now we have 24 plus 30. So the final answer is 54. For problem 4, we need to use the distributive property to simplify this expression. And again, we need to show our work. And we have 7 times the group, 11 minus 5. So let's distribute this factor of 7 times to each member of this group. So we have 7 times 11, and then minus, because we have a minus right here, minus 7 times 5. And now we do 7 times 11 is 77, and then minus 7 times 5, which is 35. And so we have 77 minus 35, and that is 42. For problem 5, we need to use the distributive property to simplify this expression, and we need to show our work. And this time the group has 3 members in it, but the distributive property works exactly the same way. We just distribute this to each member of the group. So we start with 4 times 3, and we have plus 4 times 9, 4 times 9. Now we need to distribute this negative 2, but we'll just put the, instead of having it be a negative 2, we'll just subtract this part. So minus, and then 4 times 2. So now we have 4 times 3, which is 12, plus 4 times 9, which is 36, and then minus 4 times 2, which is 8. 12 plus 36 is 48. We'll go ahead and write out this whole step here, even though you could do all of that in one step. But we'll go ahead and write out that 12 plus 36 is 48, and then we have minus 8. So the final answer, 48 minus 8, is 40. For problem 6, we need to use the distributive property to rearrange this multiplication problem so it is easier to do mentally, then simplify it. So we need to use the distributive property, but neither one of these is technically a group. So we need to convert one of these into a group and then distribute the other factor to the members of that group. So we'll have 5 times the group, and 29 is 20 plus 9. So now we can apply the distributive property, and we'll have 5 times 20 plus 5 times 9. And now we can do this much easier than going 5 times 29 directly. We can do 5 times 20, which is 100, plus 5 times 9, which is 45. And that's a pretty easy addition problem right there. The final answer is 145. For problem 7, we need to use the distributive property to rearrange this multiplication problem so it is easier to do mentally, then simplify it. So just like before, we need to turn one of these into an expanded form group. So 82 seems like the obvious choice. So let's see. So we have 8 times the group, 80 plus 2. Then we can distribute this 8 times to both members of that group. So we have 8 times 80 plus 8 times 2. 8 times 80. Whenever you're multiplying numbers and one of them ends in 0, you can just easily multiply those two and then put the 0 on the end. So like 8 times 8 is 64, but don't forget that it was really 8 times 80, so you have to put the 0 at the end, so it's 640. Plus, and 8 times 2 is 16. So we have 640 plus 16, which is 656 as our final answer. And finally, for problem 8, we need to use the distributive property to rearrange this multiplication problem so it is easier to do mentally than simplify it. And we have 3 times 158. So when we write this in expanded form, since there's 3 digits, we're going to end up with 3 members of the group. So we'll have 3 times 100 plus 50 plus 8. And then we just distribute this factor to each member of the group. So we have 3 times 100 plus 3 times 50 plus 3 times 8. Now we need to continue and simplify this step. We have 3 times 100, which is 300, plus 3 times 50, which is 150, plus 3 times 8, which is 24. Now we add all those together. So 300 plus 150 plus 24 is 474.